everyone. You're listening to Eat the Magic Escapade Edition, the podcast where we talk about everything that's going on with Disney stuff, some of our adventures, some of our thoughts, and anything else we really kind of want to talk about when we want to talk about it. I'm Jared the Greek. With me is Ari Kagami, and we have a whole lot of stuff to talk about because there's something that's kind of blowing up everyone's brains right now in the world of Disney news.
Okay, so this is all rumor, and it's being discussed around the theme park community, especially within like the Disney faction of it, and the Disney faction is a huge part of it. So the source comes from this forum known as WDW Magic. I don't really go on those forums. I'm not really a forums person. To me, that's a little bit too 2000s, but I really started joining forums again. It's like, hey, this is kind of nostalgic. Create your own signature. Use the BB code. Blah blah blah. But anyway, just to preface, this is rumor, but a lot of sources at WDW Magic tend to be true. They tend to be reliable. So again, take this with a grain of salt. And because it's Eat the Magic, make sure that grain of salt comes with a margarita.
Or ideally, it's in ice cream form. Sea salt ice cream form.
Because we're Kingdom Hearts fans. Yeah.
The game that Disney pretends doesn't exist.
Anywho, so I'm just gonna read the text here at WDW Magic, and this is posted by WDW Pro, also an insider, supposedly, allegedly, but multiple sources have reached out to me today to inform of a new review board being assembled to look at Disney park shows and attractions for elements that do not align with, as of yet not public principles. My sources do not know if the review board has been filed or by whom. They do both note that this comes directly from Iger, is being spearheaded by a VP, and one source states it is opposed by Damaro, though it is unknown why. One source provides me that the following attractions and experiences, which are to be under scrutiny given the recommendations for modification over the next 5 years. And they list 8 of them, and these are Splash Mountain, American Adventure, Hall of Presidents, Country Bear Jamboree, Whoop-De-Doo Review, Karis Progress, It's a Small World, Peter Pan's Flight. I must admit that one source is extremely biased, as they are passionate about these attractions to be protected for purposes of avoiding political rules on the forum. I will not be giving my opinion and will try to be dispassionate. I will say that I had thought the Splash Mountain conversation would pass over, but I believe I was wrong. So that's the text on the forum. We have the link in our description if you'd like to take a closer look at it and see the discussion over at WDW Magic. And again, this is in the context of Walt Disney World as opposed to Disneyland, but usually if something happens in Walt Disney World, sometimes, we'll get the changes here in Anaheim. And to clarify, if this is your first time listening to Escapades, Disneyland is our home park. We recently went to Disney World last year. We've only been once. We were supposed to go again a couple times this year, but the world happened. What can you do?
So I want to kind of go through these one by one and just kind of do my general thoughts on not only why it's on the list, but also what they could do with it. So first on the list, of course, is Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain's been a note of contention for, I'd say, years now.
And right now there's this petition just circulating online saying like, hey, change Splash Mountain to Princess and the Frog. And people are already pitching their ideas with what they want to replace the theming of Splash Mountain is. Yes, keep the Flume ride, keep the waterlog ride type of thing going on, but retheme it with different animatronics and give it a different kind of theming instead of Song of the South. So I've been seeing Princess and the Frog, that's the obvious one. People have been like pitching Pocahontas. Someone else, a friend of mine pitched Emperor's New Groove.
That would be fun. Yeah, nothing.
We'll get to your pitch.
With Pocahontas at all. That won't upset anybody.
We'll get to your pitch in a bit. I actually do like your pitch. Another gag pitch I was reading was the Muppets. Kermit in his Swampland singing like.
I'd be fine with that. Bring out his nephew and all that. That'd be great.
Rainbows. I love that song.
And end it like the triumphant conclusion from the movie Rainbow Connection. It'd be great.
Watch the original Muppets movie. It's on Disney Plus. It's one of our favorites. We still cry at the end because it's so nostalgic. Anywho, um, you and I were kind of going back and forth on, hey, maybe give it a Zootopia theme. Got the animals, right?
Yep. So my pitch, and I've had this for years now.
And you and I have been going back and forth about this, like even like several years ago, because I know you're not the biggest fan of Splash Mountain. I don't mind going to Splash Mountain if the opportunity presents itself. Yeah, I'll go on Splash Mountain. I'll do single rider.
And for correction for people, it's not a point of Song of the South as the theming is my reason I don't like the ride. I don't like getting wet on rides, like any ride. In fact, Universal Studios actually constantly upsets me by spraying me in the face with stuff on every single ride.
And I like how your introduction to Avatar Land and Animal Kingdom was, you said like, hey, did this sign pee on me?
Because it sprayed out water on me, and I don't like that. Now, if I'm going with a bunch of friends, we're like, come on, dude, let's go on Splash Mountain, then fine, I'll go along. I've been on other log flume rides before. It's just ideally, I prefer not to get wet. And on hot days at parks, instead of standing in the 8 trillion hour long water ride line,
you'd rather go to the tiki room and have a Dole Whip in the AC.
Exactly. Or Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, or anything that's in AC where I don't have to think about the heat for a few minutes.
Hey, Jay, want to go into Small World? Want to go to Small World?
Even when we were over at Florida, we ended up using Carousel Progress for that. And even though it's not air conditioned, just chillaxing on a People Mover was great.
I like how you nicknamed the People Mover, like, Jay feels like he's gonna die, so he's gonna, like, ride on People Mover.
Because I was really feeling bad. I was like, a migraine was kicking in and all that, and we needed to get me to People Mover, get me a drink, and get me my medicine. And we did, and it was good. But, okay, so that's why I don't like the ride. Just to clear that up, I want people to think that I have some sort of political stance on this. My issue with the Song of the South theming for Splash Mountain has always been as follows. If you're too ashamed of the movie, you should be ashamed of the theming of the ride. They have no problem selling merch of Brer Rabbit and Brer Bear and Brer.
And we did see the merchandise the last time we went to Disney back in early March for Indiana Jones night.
Yes, and I complain about it every single time. So my issue is, look, if you don't want to put out that movie as a cultural artifact and say, hey, look, this was the times and blah, 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 it is not appropriate, and even at the time there were critics of this movie for its portrayal of characters, but Walt Disney wanted to make an adaptation of the books he read to his kids. I know there's a proper term for the book series.
It's like the Uncle Remus series?
Uncle Remus series, Tales from the Okefenokee Swamp or whatever. And so my issue is like this. Either say, hey, we're sorry about this, but this is a cultural artifact, we should keep it out there, and thus keep the ride. Or say, no movie, no ride, let's just pretend this didn't happen, our mistake. Now, if that's the case, I always had one thing I thought we should put there, because it's been removed from the West Coast version of the park.
And this is our West Coast pitch, so just kind of like, just keeping the framing.
And I can actually do a version of it for the East Coast as well, but we will get to that when we get to a different ride I have to talk about. The Country Bear Jamboree. We lost our Country Bear Jamboree.
Sadly.
We technically got turned into Country Bears on Vacation or something, where they...
In the 80s, they would do like Country Bears on Vacation, and then they changed that space to make way for Winnie the Pooh ride.
And so we've lost our bears. But why not put the Country Bears in there? They might need to make some new animatronics. You're going to have to record some new songs. But you can have them singing some songs like, hey, we're here, welcome to our mountain. It's a fun time here. You're in bear country, blah, 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 blah. And then, when you start going towards the waterfalls, like, no, don't turn that direction. You're going to get hurt. And then, you go down your waterfall, and it ends with, you can stop them singing Zippity-Doo-Dah, but now they're doing it like in a country way, as the Country Bears, because I have no general issue with that song. Or
thank God I'm a country bear. It's essentially the John Denver song, but change the lyrics around. They're bears.
Yes. So you do that. You have some sort of fun, jaunty song at the end, whether it's Zippity-Doo-Dah or it's something from the Country Bear, any version of the Jamboree. I'm fine with it. You could then start selling the Country Bear merch again, and we get Country Bears back in Critter Country.
And you can also have like the moose, and I forgot what their names are. It's like the head, the hunter head
guys
things
could be there talking about.
Just like towards like the end of the ride, or like as you're towards like the end of the ride when you look at your photo, or like at the gift shop, you can see like the three of them just kind of interact with one another.
Yeah, and then have little the bird at a tropical hideaway, you could have the heads there occasionally just saying things to each other like...
But they'll be funny, unlike Rosita.
Yeah, I hate Rosita. Anyone who's seen my reviews knows I hate Rosita so much. Because she interrupts every review I do, and I just want to grab a rock and just chuck it at that bird. But
I think the line was, "I will eat you."
That's true. I did yell, "I will eat you" at that bird. So that's my feeling on that one. Let's go to the next.
All right, the next one is American Adventure. Now, we haven't been on American Adventure. We did go to that hall in, again, this is in Epcot. It's in the American Pavilion. And we went inside the main building of it because we wanted to see the chorus they have there because they do
which was really good.
I love that chorus. I mean, if it's one thing you're going to check out over at World Showcase over at the American Pavilion, check out these singers because, my God, they are amazing. There's actually a show in there. We didn't have time to do the show because we had fast passes for a test track. So it looks like it's just kind of like a standard, like, show that kind of has like goes through American history. I can't really make a judgment call on it. I've only seen like clips of American Adventure here and there, so I know we also kind of have like another kind of pitch on what to replace it with.
But first I want to bring up my general theory. I think some of these things are on this list because of low writer or interest like that. Like just no one's going to this anymore. We need to do something. And that might be the case for this one because, you know, when you have options like Test Track, Mission Space, and eventually Guardians of the Galaxy Roller Coaster Adventure, sitting around and watching a little show about American history does not sound particularly exciting. And the same thing goes for Hall of Presidents when we get to that. So I think there are some ways of making this more exciting without getting rid of it, and that is taking the show that we've lost, or a retraction, or we want to call it, the Muppets Present Great Moments in American History, where
I love that show.
They do the Revolutionary War as the Muppets with
Miss Piggy as King George, and now she transforms into George Washington
because she wants to be on the winning side.
I love that show. They got rid of it prematurely. It's like, yeah, we're gonna yank this. I'm like, oh, I love that show. And you and I weren't expecting. We were just like just passing by, just waiting for a Liberty Bell. I was like, hey, there's Muppets here. Hey, let's check this out.
Yeah, because we heard the guy doing the town crier guy doing the hear ye, and I'm like, oh, I guess they do some sort of town crier thing. And then I hear Kermit's voice. I'm like, wait, is that Kermit's voice?
I'm like, let's go.
We're gonna check it out. And yeah, you get Sam Eagle there.
I'd like to see a Muppets like do American history kind of thing over at American Adventure, but that's just our personal biases.
Yeah,
and
it could go
we want to see more Muppets in the theme parks. I love Muppets.
The good, the bad. You have Sam Eagle as the host. Everyone just kind of like trying to be very serious, and everyone else coming in and kind of making jokes about stuff, but talking about you know some of the great achievements America has achieved, and we've achieved a lot, people. You look back at our history, there are some black eyes for sure. Oh god, I shouldn't have said black eyes. Let me phrase that. Mistakes. We have made some mistakes in our history. Look at our $20 bill in terms of mistakes we've made in our history. That's the one that always pisses me off, and no one talks about it because apparently those people don't count. But you could definitely have some fun with this, and almost like a parody of the Hall of Presidents, but you know, still teaching the kids something and still having some laughs.
Because I like how Epcot is like the PBS. It's like the educational, edutainment theme park. And I do like seeing the Circle Vision stuff, like what they had in France and stuff. But I just kind of want to like just make it fun, you know?
So I think that would be the best way of doing it. Removing it completely is dumb. Don't remove the Americana from Disneyland. That would be the worst choice possible. Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons why the tourists come. They want the Americana. They want that idyllic, Leave It to Beaver world. Or whatever idyllic world you want to use from whatever TV show you'd like to use.
Idyllic world where everyone's happy.
Yeah. It'd be nice. Let's go to
Keyword being idyllic. Next one is Hall of Presidents.
Okay, so like I said, when we went on Hall of Presidents, we were probably one of 20 people in that room. Or 2 of 20 people in that room.
Yeah, it wasn't entirely filled, but the waiting room, because it was raining, everyone's like just seeking shade and you know, Florida... rainstorm, super humid, and like, okay, let's just go in for AC. And I think more people were just going for the AC and just to stay dry rather than actually caring about the show.
So I think part of it comes down to the fact that it's just not a high number attraction. Which, oh yeah, why would locals need to go more than once? Or if you went with like your school at one point, then you know you'd never go again. I probably won't go again until we switch our presidents just to see the new animatronic. But other than that, you know, it kind of is what it is. I don't really think you should do anything to it. Don't replace it with Great Moments of Mr. Lincoln. Keep it its own thing.
Because Lincoln out here is one of those Walt classic attractions, and it's something I don't mind like doing every now and then anytime we're at the Disneyland park if we just need to like just get AC or we're just killing time because it's still a pretty solid show.
Yeah. And it's really interesting, especially the pre-show stuff with the
I love the pre-show stuff.
You know, Walt Disney and how they created Lincoln and getting someone to try to approximate his voice based off of people who were alive enough to hear it, which is crazy to think that there were people old enough at that point who had heard Lincoln's voice. And I think the Hall of Presidents should remain that. I mean, if it's a low capacity, it's not a low capacity attraction, but a low attendance attraction, then it's a low attendance attraction. But it's part of the American experience, and I think it's worth keeping. And at the very least, as an educational thing, because you get all the presidents introducing themselves and whatever.
And it's very impressive, like seeing like all like 40-something presidents up on there too.
Yeah.
And just kind of seeing the clothing that they were wearing at the time. And I also kind of like the pre-show area where you can kind of get to see like just different memorabilia donated by living presidents at the time, or like things that were donated by the family in like this museum. And I'm a history nerd, so like, oh, this is kind of neat.
Yeah, that's the only thing I want to kind of remain untouched. There's no reason for anything else to be there. It is what it is. Those are the people we elected over the years, whether you like them or don't. And there's plenty of heroes and there's plenty of villains amongst our American presidents over the 200 through almost 300 years we've been a country.
All right, let's see if they wore underwear back then.
That's a Simpsons reference.
I love that episode of
owns
Simpsons.
that now, because nothing can stay pure and beautiful in this world.
Ay, caramba. All right, next, Country Bear Jamboree.
So
why is this on here?
I think
You're so wholesome.
for the same reason, it's a low capacity ride and probably a lot of upkeep. Those animatronics have got to have.
Do they have a problem with Big Al having blood on the cell?
Well, the thing we pointed out, because you found the original song he was singing, all those songs were hits from like the 60s or the 50s or something.
They're
Nowadays,
classic. I love
no
them.
one would know any of those songs, or very few of them. So here's a couple ideas for this. One, in Florida, you could update the songs.
Oh my god.
I mean, you know, I don't want to hear the girl bear singing Miley Cyrus, but, you know, we could find a way to make it songs people would recognize. I don't want Achy Breaky Bear Heart or any of that garbage, but I mean, like, there's a way to do it. Where
Okay, in
songs
the
people know.
Vacation version's defense, they actually kind of did that, but they, like, for the bear girl trio,
Yeah.
I know they have names I forget, but they said, like, I wish there ought to be California bears.
But there are. It's on our flag. There's totally California bears.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was cute when I was growing up. So they actually found ways when they did Vacation to just modernize the songs.
So I think that would be a way to go, because that would get people interested in checking it out. Alternatively, I know everyone's going to hate me for this, but just bear with me, folks.
Bear.
You transform this into like Woody's Roundup, which they've talked about several times because it's Frontierland, and you turn that Splash Mountain into Country Bear Mountain. They're both Country Bear Mountain now, but the Country Bears still get to remain in both parks. And you have a new show there to draw in the kids who know what the Toy Story is, until you have some sort of new Old West related character in the Disney pantheon who can then take over that area.
Yeah, they've been talking about replacing Country Bear Jamboree and Toy Story for a while. Like, it's been in the rumor mill. I mean, yeah, it would be sad to see them go, because I'm glad that I saw the Country Bear Jamboree
for
again.
Sure. I've never seen the original version, so I'm glad I got to see the original version.
Yeah, because the only version I've ever seen was the Vacation version. I've never seen the original.
And I'm not even certain if I've seen that. If it did, it's so far back in my memories, it's just a blur of colors.
But I've always enjoyed the Country Bears, and I do like the fact that for a while at DCA we had the Country Bears running around during the holiday season. And that's where you got your photo with Big Al.
Yeah, and they may come back again, which is nice. So give them Splash Mountain.
Yes,
so that
please
they have a
make the
permanent
Country
home.
Bears also like a roam around characters again. I want to give Big Al a hug.
I guess we could change something at DCA and make it Country Bear themed, but let's worry about that for another
Yeah, when
discussion
they
topic.
have like the values and principles thing for the California parks, that will be another show in itself.
Yeah.
All right, whoop-de-doo review. We actually had to look up what this was because, like, well, it's a whoop-de-doo review.
So apparently at Fort Wilderness, they have a, it's a little bit Golden Horseshoe and a little bit dinner. Golden
It's like
Horseshoe
a dinner
is kind
theater.
it's a dinner theater cowboy thing, like Golden Horseshoe, except for it's family style restaurant. So it's kind of like, for those on the West Coast, Big Thunder Ranch mixed with Golden Horseshoe Review, which is freaking awesome, and I want to go to that.
Yeah, convince Dad to take us to Fort Wilderness, because I know that's the hotel he wants to stay at when he goes to Florida.
It seems to be. I don't know if he has a preference, but I think that would be my
It would
dad's.
be a good fit for him, because knowing his
when
preferences.
the whole family adventure will be great.
So yeah, long story short, we're planning like a huge family trip over to Florida. We want to take our nephew, we want to take his in-laws, and especially his elderly boomer dad. And like we're just looking at the hotels that would be a great fit for all of us, considering what we like. And we think that Fort Wilderness would be a great fit for all of us. So it's like high on our list of like places we'd like to stay at, and knowing that they have like, oh hey, it's like a dinner and show type thing, and there's like a lot of audience participation, because we were just kind of like just browsing through clips on YouTube, just kind of see what this was all about. So it's like, yeah, cowboy type show, and like, yeah, they interact with the audience. A lot of like, hey, how are you? They go up to the audience, and you're enjoying your food. It's like medieval times, but
like doing
cowboys kind of thing.
A melodrama cowboy theater kind of thing. And I, excuse me. And I have a couple theories as to why this is on the list. Theory one is it's not cost effective. Like, maybe they don't get enough customers, especially, well, obviously now. But I mean, like, let's just say everything is based off of a year ago. They just don't get enough customers for it. It's not advertised well enough. Or when you're at Fort Wilderness, there's so many other things to do. And the parks that maybe it's just not getting the attendance they need. Two, post-COVID, having a thing where your actors go and interact with the audience, probably not the best choice to have. I think a lot of audience interaction stuff is going to get cut completely. I mean, heck, posing with the face characters at this point is like you can do it about 20 yards away from them. So it might be more in that category than this is offensive. I don't know who would be offensive to. It looks like it's just, silly cowboys and stuff like that.
Because again, we were just kind of like just watching through clips of it, and I think we're more like enthralled by the fact, oh my god, it's like a dinner review show? Like, why haven't we heard about this? Let's do this next time we're there.
And that's the point. Who's talked about any of the things we've watched about things to do in Disney World? We have never seen anything about this. We didn't know about it until it was brought up on this list.
So thanks for the free advertising?
Which to me means it's just not well attended. And I think that's why they want to get rid of it. They're like, is it worth putting the money out to do this, or could we just turn this into a regular restaurant and move on a flight?
Out of curiosity, let me just see how much it costs to do it. So, menu, pricing. Okay, so it comes in different categories. So it's like $72 for adults. Category 1, Category 2, $67 for adults.
Of course it comes up.
Category 3, $64 for adults. We can do a character meet and greet for that amount of money.
The character dining, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Character dining. Maybe.
Well, this is basically character dining. It's just you get a show instead of...
But you get to meet Mickey Mouse or Snow White.
Oh, no. By all means, I'd much rather be at, like...
Snow White and Friends?
Whatever that restaurant is called.
It's, I forgot what it's called.
I always forget which ones are the character ones, and like because their names.
There's a lot more character ones in
Florida. They have like Crystal Tower or whatever, and it's like where Winnie the Pooh is. Crystal Palace. It's where Winnie the Pooh is. I'm like, I would not connect Crystal Palace with Winnie the Pooh. Call it the 100 Acre Wood Restaurant.
Yeah, so they have Starbucks dining at Artist Point with Snow White. And that's over at Wilderness Lodge.
Again, yeah, it's that sort of stuff. I think that's what the issue is. And if they can just use this as an excuse to shut it down, like, well, some people might find it or just, this might just be a review board for stuff. Some of these are on the, is this PC or not? And some of these are just in the whole, like, hey, these are things we're thinking about cutting anyways, just go over it. Because it's a review. It doesn't necessarily mean things are even going to get changed. It just means there's people looking at them going, is this something we want to keep?
Because I do know, like, for our park, out here on the West Coast, they had to cut down on like entertainment.
Oh yeah.
For like the later half of last year, so we lost the Pixar Philharmonic Band, and I love the Philharmonic Band. I love their outfits, and I like the fact that like in between songs they're singing like the bubblegum song that gets stuck in your head from Inside Out.
Yeah, and a lot of the other little shows just stopped, and it was quite a bummer. A lot of people lost their jobs, and so that will likely happen for both coasts
It
when
also
things
really
start
made me
opening up
sad
again.
when Golden Horseshoe out here, they also lost the melodrama
Yep.
aspect of it too. And that was always fun, just going in there, you're having like your lunch and you're watching like this melodrama, you're cooling down from the heat. It's also kind of cool to watch it like from the second floor because you can see everything.
Yep. Plus, there's some good desserts there. Some really good desserts there. I want to go back there for dessert. Let's go back to Gordon Holshake. And I can't talk tonight, folks, but I can get to my family's
Well, he
accent.
can't talk, but if you'd like to donate to our brand new PayPal, you can see the link in the description so we can build up a fund for our next trip to Walt Disney World when things get better. Or if things get better out here, it can also build a fund to like help us like eat all the magic out here on the West Coast and maybe visit Universal and Knott's when things get better. Eventually.
Yeah, I need to take the family to Harry Potter Land.
Yeah, that's also on our list to take our family out to Florida for that too.
Okay, next on the list.
Carousel of Progress.
Okay, my theory on this one
I love
is,
Carousel of
again, that
Progress.
same thing of low attendance because, yeah, not a lot of people hit that. It's a long show. And it's freaking awesome, and I love it. It has the most catchy song in all of Disney history, arguably.
I love the aesthetics.
But I love it. I think what really needs to be done with that one is you need to update, like, the last section. The last section at the very least, possibly the section even before
Grandma in
that.
VR, like, oh, you nincompoop, Grandma! I didn't know you're a trolling.
So a lot of that has to be updated just to be a little more realistic and a little more futuristic.
Grandma,
and
who let her on TeamSpeak? Who uses TeamSpeak anymore?
my theory is that they're looking at this from a cost-benefit analysis. If we change this, we will get more people coming, but the cost of changing it and updating it again versus just shutting it down and turning it into some sort of glorified launch bay knockoff.
No, I don't want it to be a launch bay knockoff. We already lost Alien Encounter, and no one's doing anything with the Alien Encounter building. I originally thought that the Monsters Inc. Laugh Factory, that was where Alien Encounter used to be, but that's not the case.
Oh.
But like, Alien Encounter, like, that building right now is just used as a break room.
Oh.
That makes me sad, like, bring it back.
Very sad. Even if it's the Stitch one, who cares?
Like, I've never been on Alien Encounter, but everyone I spoke to, like, oh my god, that was like the best thing they ever had there. Like, dang, I can't believe I missed out on it.
But yeah, on the West Coast, don't go to the launch bay level where it's just this useless storage zone for whatever is popular at the moment. It used to be a Marvel zone, now it's a Star Wars zone. I'm sure
It's been a Star Wars zone for a while. Like,
it'll
before
be
it
a
used to be
something else zone after that.
Inventions. But
Inventions
even then,
is
it was
also hot garbage.
Yeah, but even then, like, it was getting outdated because, like, yeah,
because Inventions is hot
stuff.
garbage. My friend's sister worked at Inventions, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." She's like, "No, I get to be in air conditioning all day, all throughout the entire summer." And I'm like, "Oh, never mind. Great job choice." But yeah, I don't want that to happen. Walt Disney World doesn't deserve that. We don't deserve that. But that's my Tomorrowland discussion, and why we should
That's a whole other
level
discussion.
Tomorrowland and restart from scratch is a whole other discussion. What is next on the list?
It's a small world after all.
I have no idea what their problem is with Small World. I can't. Small World was designed about how everyone is equal as children, that we all see the world, how children see the world of fears and joys and etc.
In different languages.
In different languages. The only thing I can assume is that they
That'll
want to
maybe add more countries here and there, just to add more representation of different countries.
They could do that.
I do know, like, if you look at the ride footage of Tokyo and the Chinese Disney parks, they actually do add, like, a couple more Asian countries to their mix. Because I know the Philippines does have, like, a section there you can actually see, like, a Baha'i Kubo in there.
Versus our joke that there's one doll that equals the Philippines.
And then, like, a friend of mine was like, no, that's Hawaii. That's the Queen of Hawaii. Like, I'm pretty sure this is Philippines. He's like, no, that's the Queen of Hawaii. I'm like,
I don't know. I'd have to look at the outfit better and then compare Queen of Hawaii to Queen of the Philippines. She does, okay, I will admit the doll does not look like Imelda Marcos, so I'm not certain it's I just thought it was. But the thing is this. That's an option. Option 2 is they're going to put in the characters like they did with ours, where we have like Ariel and Jasmine and whatever in some of the areas. And that's fine. I don't have a...
There's like a huge like discussion when they added like Disney characters into Small World out here. Like, I don't mind. It doesn't take away from it.
I'm going to say this right now. I don't have a huge amount of nostalgia for Small World. As a little kid, I thought it was annoying and just a time suck, and I wanted to go on fun stuff. And as an adult, I find it annoying and a time suck, and I want to go on fun stuff. So
it's on Cartoon Spin.
Oh god. Well, that needs to get turned into some sort of Magical Railway, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Let's go on Magical Map. You like Magical Map?
I do like Magical Map because I get to sit down for 20 minutes and watch Kingdom Hearts. It's pretty nice.
Well, it was Mickey Dream Drop Distance.
Yeah, he just goes to different worlds and learns a valuable lesson about the magic of friendship. It's great. So when I look at something like Small World, and I know there's people who love Small World and who want to defend, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not here to pick a fight. It's not for me. Like certain TV shows or certain movies, I just know that's not for me. I couldn't watch this because I'm going to get bored.
So are you going to review the water of It's a Small World?
The water?
I dare you drink the water.
I'm not drinking the water. And from my perspective, I assume it's going to be something along those lines. Small World has always had people coming in. There's no reason to shut that down. That's a popular ride. There's a group of people who love it, and fine, but good on them. So I think it's either going to be a discussion, should we add in characters? Should we add in extra countries? Stuff like that. I don't care. I'm kind of one of those people who looks at the park and going like, this was a little more fun when it had less IP. But that might just be me. Because some of my favorite rides are non-IP rides. Space Mountain, Matterhorn, Big Thunder Mountain. The 3 of the 4 mountains are not themed. And I like all 3 of those mountains to varying degrees. You know, I don't mind a Buzz Lightyear or a... Oh god, it has to be another IP ride I really enjoy. Oh, classic Star Tours. Like, I liked both of those.
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. Generally like Indiana Jones.
Whether it be a ride or stunt spectacular.
Yeah, either version. I'm fine with that kind of... Well, Hollywood Studios is a whole nother discussion because I think everything should be IP in Hollywood Studios because it's Hollywood Studios. But I think that kind of covers it. That's the last one on the list, if I recall, right?
No, the last one was Peter Pan's Flight.
Oh, okay.
Now, we haven't been to the Walt Disney World version
I was
of
about
it.
to
We
say
don't
that.
know what the major difference is between the one out here and the one out there. And even then, like... Peter Pan's Flight out here is pretty popular. You and I just hardly go to it because there's like no fast passes for it. Every time we go, no matter what time of day, it's always going to be a 40-minute wait. I'm like,
and one of the problems is
no
the ride capacity. That is a ride capacity issue right there.
Because you only fit like 2 per
ride
vehicle, and you can only loot 2 at a time.
Yeah, I don't know if you could actually improve that. 3 if you have a kid. But I have no idea how to improve it. Some people have been theorizing. I know, what's her name? Clownfish. Talked about how they think it's the Indian stuff. I don't know if there's more Indian stuff on the East Coast.
Because it's very brief in ours.
You see their teepees, I think. That's
it's
kind
like,
of about it.
It's like blink and you'll miss it type of thing.
Yeah, so I mean, they could remove the teepees and no one's going to notice. But...
And you do see Tiger Lily for like a second, but like I don't really see... If you've seen the original Peter Pan movie, there's a lot of cringe.
Oh my god.
There's a lot of cringe on how they address Native Americans.
Are they
Neverland.
really Native Americans, though? Because they're... kind of like
they're based off Native Americans.
They're based off of. I know.
So but at the same time, it's like at least they're not singing like "What Made the Red Man Red" or like that line from "Follow the Leader" there. Yeah,
they're not doing either of those things. Oh, by the way, for anyone who hasn't heard the song "Follow the Leader" in a while, go listen to that one and just keep listening. So they talk about what they're gonna do to the engines. That song is still played in the parks, and every time that part comes up, I'm like, has no one noticed that they said...
And I know, like,
we're off to fight the engines.
Peter Pan was made during a time when, like, cowboys and Indians was, like, a popular role-play game with kids back in the day. Like, how cops and robbers were a thing, like, when we were growing up.
Either. They will give you detention for playing either of those games.
Because you can't use the finger guns.
Can't use finger guns.
I remember I got in trouble in high school because I'd use finger guns on someone because I'm like, hey, I'll see you later. Because, you know, like, sometimes you just use finger guns and people are like, yeah, see you later. Catch you on the other side.
Nowadays, it's more of a joke. It used to be a game, yeah, and...
I get it. Like, it used to be like you know, you play cowboys and Indians when you're, like, little kiddos, but I know that's not a thing anymore. It's like
David
how
Crockett was, like, the popular TV show.
Yeah, like...
That did not have particularly good portrayals of Native American people either.
I know, like, Disney Plus has, like, a couple of Davy Crockett movies. I've been meaning to, like, revisit those just, like, it's a part of Disney history. I do want to check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I love cultural artifacts. That's the thing for me. If Song of the South was on Disney Plus, I'd watch it. Yeah,
and I watch it given the frame of mind, like, okay, this is made back in the day when XYZ, blah, 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 because I even look back to, like, previous Simpson episodes, and there's a lot of transphobic jokes on there that it just kind of like just kind of blew over my mind when I was kid. Like, I didn't really think of that as hurtful or offensive, because they made like a lot of sex change jokes that would be considered offensive.
I'm not even sure. Yeah, they'd be considered offensive today, but some of them I don't think it was meant in like any kind of slight towards people in that category. I think it was more a point of making fun of the character, changing, or a lot of cross-dressing humor too. Like if you go with Looney Tunes as well, I don't think it was trying to make fun of cross-dressers.
I'm not talking about the cross-dressing part, because like, yeah, I knew the cross-dressing part was like a joke, but it's like that line again from the episode we keep quoting in this episode. It's like, yeah, I had a cousin named Frank, and now he had a sex change. Now I think his name is Mother Shabooboo.
Oh, I think that
Anywho, that
was more a point of like him. What was it? He like slept in his parents' bed until he was like 18 or something. It's like, that'll warp him. Nuh-uh. Frank's a great person. He got a sex change and became Mother Shabooboo, but still like something like that. Like it was. I don't know. Yeah, that feels unnecessary. They could have done something else, like he shaved his head and joined a cult. But yeah, you could just say something like that.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, that didn't age well. Yeah. But moving on. Yeah, Selma's Choice is one of my favorite episodes, and I just end up quoting it a lot, especially when it comes to like theme park stuff.
Was that a line from Selma's Choice?
Yeah, it's like they were like on the table and they were talking about certain donations.
Right. I thought that line came from the episode where they were trying to. It was.
Or was it Lisa's first word?
I think it was like Lisa's first word or something like that.
Hang on, let me look up the line.
Or it was like, such and such will take Bart's room, and then Bart will just stay in the bed with us until he graduates.
Yeah, you're right. Lisa's first word. I think his name is Mother Shabooboo now.
Yeah. No, we do quote Selma's Choice a lot because it's one of the best theme park episodes they've ever done.
This looks like fun. A bench.
Like, Itchy and Scratchy Land comes close because, like, I just always think of Parents Island has been like a running joke for us for a while.
Now it's Disney Springs.
It's called Disney Springs. But yeah, Simpsons theme park episodes are usually pretty good. We were even watching the one where they were making fun of Disney. Certain choices they've made.
Oh yeah, like, oh, now that they got the Cosmos IP, like Stormtrooper Jamboree.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, Peter Pan's the last one. So,
like I said, I don't know. I'd probably have to watch Florida ride footage.
I just kind of curious to see like the Florida ride footage.
And maybe that's the whole point are teepees offensive? And I'm like, no, it's something Native Americans lived in.
Yeah, certain tribes. Like, yeah, some had log houses or adobe houses.
Had adobes. Depending on your region, there were teepees. That was a thing. Seeing Tiger Lily like wave or something is not that big a deal. Now, if it's playing, some of the songs from that movie, then we may have some issues here. Or if you're watching, the Lost Boys, chase the Indians or whatever, then okay. But that is a scene from the movie. People, until they make a live action remake, then they'll just re-theme the ride to the live action remake, and it'll be great. Everyone will love it. It'll be super awesome.
But yeah, we're down for Country Bear Mountain.
Country Bear Mountain, though. So I've been talking about this for years, and finally the opportunity. And if they do it, I'm going to believe that they heard this podcast and decided it because of me. Because I feel that is what I've earned as a Disney fan. So some Disney fans believe that they deserve to be first in line because they exist. Some Disney fans believe they need all the Spirit jerseys. I believe I just need my ideas for revamping rides to be heard and then executed properly so that I'm the hero of all Disney rides. I should be an Imagineer, people. I make models, and I'm smarter than the average bear.
Country bear.
Average country bear.
I mean, your family is from Tennessee.
It's true. So I can do a spot-on Southern accent. I heard my family, I get the relatives come in, and they go, hey, how you doing? Like, yeah, I'm doing good.
So how would you format Country Bear? Just go up the initial first, and then like you see like all the houses before you like do that first splash right in.
And you see a couple of the bears there like waving to you like, oh, howdy, welcome to Bear Country. Something like that. And as you
see
go
the camp counselor bear. I forgot that the MC bear's name was like he's the one with the raccoon on his head.
And you get one like plucking away at the guitar going like, I'm working on a new song. Boom, 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 boom. Well, I gotta tune that. Boom, 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 boom. And then as you go through, eventually you see more of the more popular bears as you get closer to the falls. Like, yeah, it's so relaxing here. It's the best place in the world.
So what would be the reason for the Flume Drop?
You accidentally took a wrong turn. Yep, it's a smooth sailing to the show. Just take a left. No, Merv is a rat. I think it's a left, yeah, like something like that. You get like the left, rat. Oh no, but don't go that direction. And then that's when you start going towards the edge there. And you're
So
like,
yeah, when I
oh,
see
we're
like
going the
people
wrong way.
like all make all these pitches, like Princess and the Frog, Pocahontas, like okay, you kind of have to think about like how do you want to tell that story within in the ride, and working with the infrastructure you have with Splash Mountain, like how are you going to integrate like all those drops? How are you going to like give them a reason to have that flume right there?
Yeah. So like with the smaller drops, it can be a whole like, whoa, you gotta be careful. There's some crazy the river gets a bit crazy up ahead. Make sure you go the right direction, or you're gonna be sorry. Something like that. And then when you get to the end, it's it could be Big Al or something like, oh, to get to the show, you need to go on the left, or was it the right, or the left, or the right, or no, don't go that direction. And then that's of course the direction you're going towards the falls. You can still have like the crows up there and just have them like chuckling or something. I don't know why. I just keep them there. I don't see a point in removing them. I just kind of like the crows there. And then you do that the fall, and then you get down into the thing, and then you're in the show, and like, oh, welcome to the show. Boo, 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 country bear singing a song about stuff
You
and
can like
things.
finish off with "Thank God I'm a Country Bear."
Yeah. Thank God I'm a country bear. And then you just change the gift shop thing, and you put in the
Moose heads.
moose heads, and going like, oh, looks like more people came out. Yeah, they really need to make sure they go on the right detour.
And you
They
can
fall
kind
down
of
that
like
fall.
do like Mr.
Woo.
Potato Head in Toy Story and Midway Mania out here, or you kind of have someone who's monitoring like all three heads and just kind of interacting with the guests at the same time.
Yeah. I would really like that as opposed to Bing Bong at the candy store who just repeats the same three things over and over again. And as much as I love the Bing Bong candy store memory refreshers, because those are actually pretty good smoothies. Not smoothies, slushies.
And
But
it's nice to have like it's a hot day, and then you have like the Pixar Harmonic Orchestra right there. It's like, oh my god.
them.
That was like just the perfect combination. Like you had the memory refresher slushies, and you like listen to the band play.
Yeah.
I mean, I swear, the older you and I get, the more appreciation we have for like shows. I think it also comes from the fact that both of us have performance backgrounds outside of
some of those
radio.
shows I'd love to have been part of. One of my drum instructors back in the day was part of the Trash Can Band, and he also had to march in the Light Tragic Parade. So things like that, made me go like, I would like to have that job. I don't know what I don't want to be part of the parade because I hate parade marching. I'll be honest, but being part of like the Pixar Harmonic thing, that would have been. I would have had a blast just playing sax or flute or both.
I can also see you being part of the River Rats in New Orleans Square.
That could work too.
Because they also play at the French Market.
Yeah.
And they're also the pre-show for Fantasmic. They have you on a raft and you just kind of play jazz tunes while people wait for Fantasmic.
That's the kind of stuff I'd want to. It's so freaking competitive. Like, if you think being a face character is competitive, you have no freaking idea. From what I've heard about being in there, you need to know someone, make a blood pact with Satan, and I think be the third cousin of Walt Disney in order to actually join one of those bands.
And you're speaking as someone who's won awards for like jazz music.
Yes. I'm saying that as an award-winning musician, this is competitive. But you know what? If I'd had the right encouragement and what have you, I probably would have been part of it. I kind of regret not like trying for it and just instead of being like, whatever, I play music for myself. I would have loved to have had a job being a musician. I bet if my dad had been around, he probably would have, he probably would have said like, dude, do that. That'd be a great job. And I'd be like, sure, I'll just, no, I'll introduce you to some jazz guys. They'll amp up your skills another level, and then you can go and kick some butt. And it probably would have, and it would have been great. But that is not the route my life took, unfortunately. Now I'm so out of practice, I think I would just get laughed off the audition stage. Just sad. I wanted to use this time to practice, but I have my whole family home, and I feel self-conscious until my skills get to a certain point practicing because I want to be able to practice at a level that sounds good and not sound like someone who's just trying to do their scales, which is where I'd have to begin and blah,
like
blah, blah.
my dream performance role for Disney, I don't know if they probably retire this, but if any of you are familiar with DCA, I think I used to know the name. I think it was like the Five and Dime performers or players or something. They would just come out in like this old timey car, and there would be like this female jazz singer on there, and she would just talk about like how her five backup guys helped her in her rise to stardom, and she was singing all these classic jazz standards.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
And like, yeah, that's like one of my dream like singing parts, because I actually was professionally trained in like jazz standards when I was in high school, and like, yeah, like had I kind of pushed myself more, because like, yeah, you know, I'm going to major in communications and blah blah blah, do marketing and focus on that, and go to San Francisco, Boston, Chicago, and blah blah blah.
Versus me, I had a family that didn't support me in the arts.
Oh, mine didn't either. They were more focused in with my brother playing t-ball. So, anywho.
Yeah, yay, family drama. But yes, I'm under the mindset that Disney is always going to keep evolving. That's kind of the way the parks are. I'm not expecting anything to really close, or if it does, it's probably more financial reasons that, oh no, this could possibly offend someone on Twitter. And, you know, nothing could even happen. That's the other option on here. We could, 5 years from now, we could be looking at Flashbang Guns, still Song of the South. All right, coolsies. Let's go to the Okefenokee. Just because I like using the word Okefenokee. Because it feels like a made-up word, but it's probably the name of the Indian tribe that lived near there. But it just sounds like a made-up word. Yeah, I think that's kind of all I can really say on this one. I am curious if a list of West Coast attractions comes up, because I know I'll have a lot to say. And I'd like to eventually do my whole discussion on West Coast Tomorrowland and why it needs to be bulldozed. And we can save that for another video, of course, because that's gonna this video, it will already get me enough hate for the things I've said.
Anyhoot. Take us out.
Disney fans lose their minds over the smallest things.
Oh, definitely, especially when we have these Karens.
Yes.
Like, I'm not going to Disneyland because I have to wear a mask.
Oh, boo-hoo, you have to wear a mask.
Oh yeah, don't go, Karen.
Please don't go, so that we have like a fun time when we go. Because I'm looking forward to Disneyland reopening, so I can eat some food, go on some rides, can go Dumbo and be like, yeah, Dumbo! Which is not what I say when I go on Dumbo, but it's what I'm going to say now.
No, I love going on Dumbo. Like, I don't care what everyone says, I love Dumbo.
Dumbo's fun. The only ride I really wish I could go on again, and I haven't, and I've been too scared to try to go on because I think I wouldn't fit, is Snoopy versus the Red Baron. That's still on my list of, I want to go on that again because that was my favorite ride at Knott's when I was a tiny little Jared. And now that I'm not tiny, I don't know if I can even fit in like the thing. But if I can fit in the thing, I'm totally going on that and like, yeah! Flying Doghouse, let's do this! I'd lose my mind. Just make me so happy.
Anyhoot.
So, that all being said, thank you for listening. Remember to check out the links in our description to my PayPal. And
yes, give us money on PayPal.
Please.
Family.
Because we are not going to do Patreon since I've heard that that's imploding. And until next time, remember, even if you can't go to the park, you can still eat the magic.